What's going on, chat? This is James Terry with another deck profile from JTZ TCG. Today we're going to be reviewing my Snorlax VMAX deck. We've play tested this on TCG Online in about 35 different matches, and so far we're 29-6. The typical decks we struggle against are the Zacian V and ADP, the G-Max Fall that Snorlax VMAX attacks with. Its max rating is 210 for hit points, so we missed that mark on Zacian V by 10 points. The way we combat this is by using the Vitality Band, and we play 2 in the deck, but between our draw supporters and our DD changes, sometimes those end up getting discarded and we have to still work around that Zacian V. We considered playing the Galarian Zigzagoon with the Scoop Up Net that we also play in deck for that extra 10 damage, but I find it more inconsistent when we did that. We did it about 15 matches, and because we would either start with Galarian Zigzagoon or we would find ourselves on a spot where we couldn't set up fast enough and it was more of a hindrance, especially with Pikarom and the Dragapult decks. So we decided to 86 it. We put in more bosses orders when originally we were just playing Pokemon catchers and great catchers, and that's really helped improve this deck. So we're going to lay it out for you and tell me what you think in the comments. Any notes or suggestions, I'm completely open to. I hope y'all enjoy the video. Got to catch them all. Alright, this is James with JTZ TCG. We'll be reviewing the deck profile for my Snorlax VMAX deck. To start off with, we have a 3-3 line of the Snorlax VMAX and Snorlax V. We also have, for our draw support and hand, 2 Dedenne-GXs. And then for our support Pokemon, we have 1 copy of Absol with the Dark Admonition ability, 1 Mew with the Bench Barrier ability. We have a Volcanion if we were to go second, which is typically more ideal that I like to go second, even though if I was to go first, I could evolve on my second turn, because if I do start with Volcanion, then I get that Flare starter attack off. And then our other support Pokemon, which really kind of make this deck tick and work and flow, are 3 copies of Jirachi with the Stellar Wish ability. Ideally, that's what we want to start with, so we can get our welders, our vitality bands, our super scoop up, our researches, our giant earths, and everything else that we need for quick balls, escape boards, and etc. For items, we have 2 copies of Escape Board and 2 copies of the Scoop Up Net. I do find they both work very well and consistently in this deck. Between the Scoop Up Nets with the Jirachis, or if I need to scoop up Volcanion, or Escape Board out with Jirachi, it allows me to use multiple Stellar Wishes if I find myself stuck in a bind. Can't tell you how many times I had 2 Jirachis, 1 in the active, 1 in the bench spot, and then I would Scoop Up Net the Jirachi in the active, bring up the Jirachi from the bench that has an Escape Board attached to it. It fails, and then I can play that Jirachi that is scooped up net right back down to the bench, so I can Stellar Wish again and hopefully find what I'm looking for. Then we also play the 2 copies of the Vitality Bands to help us with the Zacian V. Again, Snorlax VMAX, he does only do 210 at max with the G-Max Fall attack, so we do fall short going against that Zacian V. So that Vitality Band really helps us take those 1-hit KOs on him. And it's very popular, as everybody knows, running with the ADP. It's still one of those top tier decks. And then it also puts us in range for Pikarom decks. If they're not running a Giant Charm, we can set up with the Mew and take that bench snipe damage if they were trying to retreat out. Next, we play the 4 copies of the Scoop Up Net. And this is really what makes this deck make or break. I can't tell you, out of the 6 times I lost, 2 of which I hit 4 tails on all 4 of my super scoop ups. Very frustrating, very annoying, but it is very consistent running 4 of them in the deck. Typically what happens is when I do get my first Snorlax VMAX out, I take a knockout or take half knockout on a small Pokemon. They bring up their Zacian or their ADP or their Pikarom, whoever, and they take a hit on me, and I've already got another Snorlax V set up on the bench, and I hit that super scoop up and pick it up, and then I wail into whatever Pokemon's in the active spot. I did experiment with Amalo and Lana. It didn't really, to me, flow the way I like how the super scoop ups flowed. When you consider the damage output a lot of the tag teams and VMAX Pokemon are going against right now, that 120 damage, if you've already taken the hit, doesn't really keep you out of a 2-hit KO ratio. Versus with Snorlax VMAX being 340 HP and you hit a super scoop up and bring up another Snorlax VMAX, it's going to be very devastating to your opponent. Additionally, we also play the 3 quick balls to be able to search out our Jirachis, our Dedennes, the Snorlax VMAXs. We also play 3 copies of the Pokemon Communication. We do not play any ordinary rod or any way to get our Snorlax VMAXs or Snorlax Vs back. I like to make sure I have at least a 2-2 consistently throughout the game or with running the super scoop ups. So the Pokemon Communications not only help us search out our other Pokemon, but it also helps us salvage our V and V Maxes if we were to DD change or Professor's Research. That way we don't discard those to the... Next, we have the 4 copies of Switch. So we can switch out the Snorlax VMAXs if our super scoop up happens to fail. Then we can switch into another one to protect that one that's injured, while also having the Mew on the bench so it can't get sniped. Yes, a lot of people are running bosses orders or Pokemon catchers, but that way we can at least try and hide it behind the bench until we get another super scoop up and hopefully get it to work. And then we also play 3 copies of the Professor's Research for our draw supporters to dig out through our deck. And one of the main things that make this deck work is the Welder engine. I do play 4 copies of the Welder. I find that the best way to make this Snorlax VMAX deck work with working with fire energies and triple acceleration energies, and then while also drawing into your deck, finding those vital cards. And then with that, we also play 2 copies of Boss's Order to, gust up any of those injured Pokemon or take a big 1-hit KO or a finishing blow KO on a Dedenne-GX, a Swalot GX, an Dedenne-GX, or a Lucario GX, a lot of support GX Pokemon. This allows us to switch those up and take that big hit KO to get 2 prizes or to end the game. For our stadium supports, we do 1 copy of Heat Factory and then 2 copies of the Giant Hearth. Obviously, we will have extra fire energies to a degree, and if we need to find something, the Heat Factory helps us dig it out, and then the Giant Hearth is to work contingent with the Welder, so we can get those digged out of the deck, they're not taking up space, and then also use the Welder to attach them to our Snorlax VMAX. For energies, we do play 4 copies of the Triple Acceleration. If you can't dig out the Welders or you can't find the fire energies you need and you need to set up fast, I find the Triple Acceleration does work awesome with the Snorlax VMAX. I can't tell you how many times it is clutched for me in the game. to get a triple acceleration on 1, 2, even 3 turns in a row if I'm sticking with 1 in the active spot and I can't get that super scoop up to work. And then lastly, we do play 10 copies of the Fire Energy to work with our Giant Hearth and our Welder, and then our Heat Factory. It can go well with Volcanion to help us take that one-hit KO if we can't get our Vitality Band with Snorlax VMAX. Volcanion with its Heat Blast attack, if you do have 4 energies in play, which typically you do, then you can take that one-hit KO on a Zacian V so long as they don't have the Metal Frying Pan attached to it. Again, I have run this deck on TCG Online. It's done very well as far as win ratio and tournaments. I was hoping to get some of y'all's guys' input on it and see if there's any changes y'all feel like it should make. And I look forward to hearing any comments and see what you think about the deck. Gotta catch them all, guys.